Welcome to this lecture on vector and matrix norms and also the condition number of a matrix. We will look into the definitions and a few examples. This is a very important part of linear algebra because vector and matrix norms are extremely useful in error analysis, and the condition number is very important in understanding stability of solutions of a linear system of equations. In order to define how close two vectors or matrices are, and in order to define the convergence of sequence of vectors or matrices, the idea of norm can be studied. So norms provide vector spaces and their linear operators with a measure of size, length, and distance. Matrix norm is a measure of how large its elements are. It is a way of determining the size of the matrix that is not necessarily related to how many rows or columns the matrix has. The norm of a vector or a matrix should be computable without investing too much cost. Let us start with vector norm. It is to be understood that a norm is generally written in vertical bars, and we usually use capital X to represent a vector. Suppose we have a vector space in the Rn space, and one of the vectors is capital X represented by its components x1, x2, etc., xn. Then norm X should satisfy three conditions. One is the non-negativity condition, then positive scalability, and the triangle inequality. Now, by non-negativity, we mean the norm of any vector x cannot be negative. It can be greater than or equal to 0, and specifically it will be 0 whenever the vector itself is a 0 vector. Positive scalability is the norm of lambda x is equal to mod lambda into the norm of x, where lambda can be real or complex. Then norm of x plus y should be less than or equal to norm x plus norm y, which is what we call the triangle inequality. We have well-known norms called the one norm, the infinity norm, the Euclidean norm, and the p norm. The one norm is obtained by taking the absolute sum of all the vector elements. The infinity norm is obtained by taking the maximum among all the absolute values of the vector. The two norm or the Euclidean norm is the most commonly employed vector norm, and it is the square root of the sum of the squares of the vector components. A more general norm is the Minkowski norm or the p norm, which is obtained by taking the pth root of the sum of the powers of the vector, each one raised to power p. To understand the computational aspects, let us take a simple vector 3 minus 4, 12 and calculate three norms: the one norm, the infinity norm, and the Euclidean norm. The one norm is to simply take the maximum among the maximum sum of all the vector elements taken in absolute sense. So the maximum of 3 plus mod minus 4 plus 12 gives us 19. So that is the one norm for this vector. The infinity norm is the maximum among the absolute values of the vector components. In this case, the maximum of 3 mod of minus 4 and 12, which gives us 12. And the Euclidean norm is the square root of the sum of the squares of the vector components. So this gives us 13. So the one norm yields a very high magnitude. The infinite norm 12 and the Euclidean norm 13. It is computationally costly to evaluate the Euclidean norm, but for analysis, this is the preferred norm. Now let us talk about what is normalization of a vector. Given any vector, one can normalize this vector by dividing by its norm. Of course, the value, the expression will change according to the norm that we select because the denominator changes. So we just have to take the vector x and divide by its norm. Let us look at a matrix A of size 3 by 3, and if we take the Euclidean norm of each of the column, you will find that this norm will be 3. So when you divide each of the columns by its norm, so we get a matrix whose elements have very, very special significance. So by this way, we can select any norm and then convert a vector or a matrix into its normalized form. Now, having seen what vector norms are, now let us look at matrix norms. The definition does not change. All of us know a matrix is a stack of vectors. So again, the only requirement is the matrix should be a square matrix. And then we have the same 3 axioms to be satisfied: the non-negativity criterion, the positive scalability, and the triangle inequality. And specifically, if you take the norm of the identity matrix, it will be 1, and norm of A into X, where x is a vector, is norm A into norm X, and norm of the product of 2 matrices A and B will be less than or equal to norm A into norm B. Just as in the case of vectors, we can also have different types of norms for matrices: the 1 norm, the infinity norm, the 2 norm, and the p norm. So those are the definitions. And then using these definitions, let us take a matrix, 2 by 2 matrix, and then compute the various norms. The 1 norm yields 10, the infinity norm yields 8, the Euclidean norm yields 7.93. So as you can observe in this case, once again the 1 norm yields a very high output. In this case, the Euclidean norm settles somewhere between the infinity norm and the 1 norm. Let us now talk about condition number of a matrix, where again the concept of norm becomes important. Again, in order to compute the condition number, the matrix A should be a square matrix, and the condition number of A, denoted by K of A, is norm A into norm of A inverse. Now, this particular index is a critical tool which is used in testing the stability of a system of linear algebraic equations. Let us take a problem where we have a matrix A, 2, 3, 1, minus 1. Its inverse can be computed, and then let us find the norm of A, the Euclidean norm, and then we find the Euclidean norm of A is 15, root 15, and the Euclidean norm of A inverse is root of 15 by 25. So the condition number yields us 3. Now, just to give you an essence of how this is used in the analysis of a system of equations, suppose we have a system of non-homogeneous equations Ax is equal to B. Then, by finding the condition number of A, we can find out, or we can make a statement about how stable the solutions of this system will be. Let us look at an example. We have a linear algebraic system, and when you take the system that is given there, the solution is found to be 1, 0. But let us slightly perturb the right-hand side vector 4.1, 9.7 by adding a small quantity 0.01 to the first component 4.1. Now the system appears the same almost, but the right-hand side constant vector is now 4.11, 9.7. And if you solve the system of equations, you get an output 0.34 and 0.97, which is completely at variance with the previous solution. So let us see what happened exactly. When you calculate the condition number in this case, it gives a very, very high condition number, 1.6 into 10 or 3. So a high condition number is an indicator of an ill-conditioned system of equations, and a condition number close to 1 is an indicator of stability. So these are the very important takeaway points of this particular lecture on vector and matrix norms and the condition number and its importance.